Welcome back to Heath's house, where we do a little bit of everything all the time, and it usually turns out right. It's a cold day. We got a fire going in the other room, and I'm gonna make some potato soup because that just seems like it's a good thing to have for dinner. I meant to make some bread earlier, totally forgot about it, so now it's a bit late. Try to make some tomorrow, I guess. I'm gonna start out with some bacon because every potato soup needs bacon. I'm just cutting it up into little chunks. I'll brown it up a little bit, then pull it out, do all the vegetables in the grease, add the potatoes, and go from there. I don't know if you can see Bodie. Oh yeah, you can see him right there. He smelled me open it up. I was cutting up some prime rib a few minutes ago, getting it set up for tomorrow so I could season it. And Bodie just came, sat right next to me. So of course I had to trim some off and give him a little snack. He said it was going to be pretty good, didn't you, Bubos? My heat's set to pretty low. This will take a few minutes because I don't want to burn the bacon at all. I keep my wooden utensils oiled, but I also just get them wet before I do any cooking with them. I don't know why. I think I heard somewhere that it's better for them. But I don't know, it's just a habit. All right, well that's browning. Got a poblano pepper. It's got a little bit of heat, but not too much. I prefer a jalapeno in here, but my wife does not, so. And all my leftover bits go in the chicken bowl. We throw no food scraps in our waste bin here. Everything goes to the chickens. So I don't know if you all like potato soup, but our potato soup usually has a lot more in it than just potatoes. I'm gonna have mushrooms and carrots. There's some cilantro that's starting to go bad, so that's going in there so it doesn't go to waste. A lot of pepper. And then once it's mostly cooked, I'll blend most of this up. I'll leave it kind of chunky, but most of this will get just blended right up with a emulsifier. But, I mean, there's a fire going right now. It's a cold night. It's about the best time to have some soup. All the kids have been playing non-stop today. They started at like 8 this morning. Heath just came back in the house, said everybody's gone home, which is unusual. In the summertime, the sun would be up for another, I don't even know what time it is, but probably like another 3-4 hours. Kids would not be home right now, but wintertime gets here, the sun starts setting early. Everybody thinks it's later than it is. But I don't know if any of you all have kids. Heath, which is my youngest, and he's actually very similar to all the other 4 boys I have. But he was coming inside only in socks on. No shoes, no coat. He'd been out on the trampoline, overheating, and so just left all his stuff out in the yard. I can't even tell you how many times I'd tell him to put his shoes and coat back on today. Do You all have any special plans or traditions that you guys do for Christmas? We like to stay home. So on Christmas Day, we don't really go anywhere. We just stay at the house, sit in front of the fire, have hot cocoa, then relax. Gonna have to rinse this celery off. It's the only one I didn't rinse beforehand. I find that some people aren't a huge fan of celery, but I really like the flavor it gives you. And if you did want to make this vegan, you could just skip the bacon grease and the bacon and the butter that's going to go in later, and the heavy cream that'll probably go in as well. But you could skip all of those. Use some olive oil or something like that, whatever oil you like to saute your vegetables in. You can even use these mushrooms here. Instead of adding them directly, make a little mushroom stock so you don't have to use beef stock or anything like that. Alright, bacon's starting to go now. Should only be a couple more minutes for this. I don't like my bacon to get too crispy because I like to put it back in the soup. And if you get it too crispy, then you got those little hard bits. So chickens don't really eat the onions, but we put everything out there because what they don't eat just gets composted down. And then the bugs eat it, and then the chickens eat the bugs. Best of both worlds. Sometimes this peel just does not want to come off. There it goes. Oh, maybe not. There it goes. So the onions are going to go in next, then the peppers, then the garlic. I tend to put my garlic in last because I don't like the flavor of garlic when it starts to burn. All right, almost there. Does smell good. So, Bodie might also be smelling this. Kids had hot dogs today. Boop. I guess I should give them a treat. One thing about cooking is, man, you make a mess. But we don't eat out hardly at all. Besides when we're traveling on a road trip and you stop for some food along the way, I mean, we might eat out once a month at most. Even when we're on vacation, we always rent places that have kitchens, and we cook at home while we're on vacation. It's because you can save so much money doing that. And the food's better. Food is definitely better. But I'm gonna make probably I'll switch pots eventually because this pot's not gonna be big enough, but I'll probably make about 2 gallons of potato soup today. And then we backpack it, save it for later once we're done. This cast iron Dutch oven though, it's by far my favorite pan for starting soups out in. I like the heat you get off of it. The sear you get for all your vegetables. It just works the best. But this only holds like 1.5 gallons, so once I get to the main process, I have to switch pots. But you want to make sure you get all your bacon bits out because otherwise, man, you're going to fry them up when you're doing these onions. Alright, so now we do these onions until they start getting a little soft. Oops, uh-oh. Just cracked my kid's gingerbread house. I don't think he built that up to code anyways. I don't know about you, but when it comes to garlic, I tend to, what I think is, over put garlic in, like too much garlic, but the flavor never seems that way. It seems like you can always put some more garlic in. But our chickens right now are not laying many eggs. Granted, we have to keep knocking the ice off the water and putting fresh buckets out every morning because the water's freezing, so they're probably cold too. But in the past, they've laid better when it's cold. I think right now, because it keeps going to like 60 degrees and then 20 degrees and then 60 degrees and then 20 degrees. I think it's just throwing the birds off. I actually had to buy eggs the other day, which is crazy. Alright, this is about there. A little bit more. I want to get my onions well cooked before I put everything else in. Mushrooms are an interesting vegetable. I guess they're not really a vegetable. But about ready to fill up the bowl, and then they're going to melt down into nothing. This is where I start adding a little bit of butter to go with the bacon grease. Once these mushrooms simmer for just a second, a little bit of butter soaked into them, I'm going to put all the rest of these peppers in. I'll turn it up a little bit. So I got my beef broth is defrosting in the microwave right now. I make huge pots of it at a time, like I make like 4 or 5 gallons, and then I backpack it. I usually have like half-gallon size bags backpacked, but I'm running low, so all I've got right now is the 4 and 2 cup bags, so I'm gonna need a couple of those. All right, so these are sauteed enough. Now we're gonna switch pots. Put that back down here. I'm going to turn the heat up on that for just a second. So this is how I backpack my broth. Like I said, usually I have bigger bags, but we've used all of those. All I got is the small ones left. I'm going to put this in here. And get all those little bits off the bottom. For a second. Then we'll start peeling our potatoes. No, he's got a bad spot. That's not too bad. We got the potatoes peeled. That would have been a big, long, boring section right there. Now I'm just dicing them up. Like I said, I'm going to go through here once this is all cooked I'll use the emulsifier, and I will blend a bunch of this up while still leaving it chunky. So these potato bites can really be any size you want. Alright, this is nice and boiling now, and all that brown bits are coming off of the cast iron pan. That's just extra flavor from the onions and the vegetables cooking. It's going to go right into the soup. All right, now we'll keep adding the potatoes. We'll toss the carrots in there, and then it just sits and simmers for about an hour. And then we'll check back in on it then. All right, so when it comes to the carrots, I'm going to cut these up a little bit more than everything else, because while some of this is going to get blended up, we're still going to have chunks. And since the carrots, even if they're going to be cooked a lot, are still going to stay kind of hard, I really don't want giant chunks of carrot in here. So these are getting cut up a little bit more than everything else. All right, so everything is been simmering for about an hour. The potatoes are soft, they're starting to smush up. So I'm going to use this now. And just go until I feel like it's good. I'm going to get most of the big chunks out, but we still need some of them in there. And then I actually didn't have enough potatoes to make a huge batch of potato soup. So once I get this done, I'm going to throw in some instant mashed potatoes to finish thickening it up. So I keep these on hand. They're actually good to thicken up pretty much any kind of soup you want. That wasn't a full box. I've already used that a couple times. I'm just going to stir this in now. And then we'll see how it goes, see how thick it is, see what else we need to do from here. And then check the seasoning. And I'm going to turn the heat all the way down right now. Alright, I'm going to let that sit for about 15 minutes just to get all one piece and together. And then we'll see how it goes, we'll see how it tastes, and we'll have some dinner. So that's thickening up pretty good. We need to add a little bit more butter to it. I think there's probably about a stick of butter in this in total. Some heavy cream. It's probably about a half a cup of heavy cream. And some cheddar cheese. That'll add some good flavor. As well as the whole bag. Now I'm just going to stir this to combine it. And once this cheese gets combined really well, it won't be stringy or anything. It'll just be completely melted in, adding that extra cheddar cheese flavor to the soup. Oh, almost forgot. Gotta add the bacon back in. Man, bacon makes everything better. Alright, well I'm gonna let this sit for probably like 5, maybe 10 more minutes. Cool down just a little bit. Then give it another stir. But yeah, already the cheese isn't stringy at all. It just melts in and adds some really good flavor to the soup. So now we come to the important step of the night. Liz has worked all day. She works tomorrow too, so she's up in the bath. I'm gonna take her a sample, see if she likes it. And if she does, well, dinner's ready. If not, then I guess we'll have to add a little bit more seasonings to it. All right, texture's good. Needs some more salt and a little bit more spices. Hadn't actually put in any spices yet. A little salt, a little pepper, a little bit more garlic, a little bit of paprika. That smells good. I wonder if I have one of these open already. Didn't see one. And add a little bit of parsley in there. And a little bit of onion. Now we'll stir this up again. Let it sit for another 5 minutes or so. Try it again, and it should be pretty good to go from this point. Might add a little bit more butter, or probably some heavy cream actually. All right, let's check back in about 10 minutes. Well, in all the hustle and bustle, I forgot about this wilted cilantro, so I'm gonna chop this up real quick and add it to the soup. Might have to actually turn the heat on a little bit now to get this to go through, but yeah, it's still too hot to keep your finger on it, so it's probably pretty warm. All right, I think this is pretty good now. Next thing, you should see me have it plated, maybe with a little toast. All right, so we're all set. Let's see how this turned out here. Dab with Greek yogurt on top instead of sour cream. This is Melinda's green sauce. Got it when we were in Hawaii. I like my food spicy. Liz does not like her spicy, so I typically make it normal and then just add the spice to mine individually. But there we go. So there we go, potato soup on a nice cold day before Christmas Eve day. Thanks for stopping by Heath's house, where the food is always fresh and the back deck is always open. See you around.